It also happens to be why people on the right are so off-put by the overtly transgressive nature of left-wing politics when it comes to sexual identity. Because the left has basically said all social institutions are impositions and then must be destroyed in favor of bizarro world notions of your own identity as self-created. Because of that, it's having dramatic impacts on the way we live. And there are certain sort of weird outlying stories that people pay attention to simply because they gather headlines. And they're meant to garner headlines because the idea is that if you can make the transgressive normal, then the normal becomes transgressive. If you can make the transgressive, all the breaking of the social institutions, the norm, then anybody who fights back against that is some sort of bigot, sinner, terrible person. So here's a story for you. This one is out of Derry, New Hampshire. A teenager in New Hampshire has become the first transgender contestant to win a local Miss America organization beauty pageant. We have video of Brian Wen, who is 19, who won the Sunday night pageant to become Miss Greater Derry 2023, which awards the winner a crown, title, and scholarship. Brian is the first to win. Brian is an overweight dude. This is a video of Brian. And that is just a description.
Can we skip to the good part?
I guess Brian is now Brianne, I guess is how he wants to be pronounced. Okay, Brian violates all traditional standards of what a woman is and all biological standards of what a woman is because he is in fact not a woman. He also would violate, even if he were a woman, what sort of traditional beauty has constituted. You would be surprised if a woman who looked like this transgender woman looks, a biological man looks, if a woman like that won a beauty contest, you'd be like, that's kind of strange because that's not a traditionally beautiful woman in any way, shape, or form. But that's the whole idea, right? You violate all the rules, you destroy all the rules, and then once all the rules are destroyed, then anybody who stands up for the rules is the transgressor. So this is just another indicator of a broken culture. And all of this has deeper societal roots. And people on the left like to play the game. Why are you even noticing? The answer is we're noticing because, again, what we're watching in terms of kind of daily news stories, that's the tip of the iceberg kind of stuff. And then all the stuff under the iceberg is what we've been talking about this entire episode. The broad societal changes in the definition of marriage. Tied into, by the way, the definitions of sex. Once you remove from the traditional definitions of society, marriage, with the idea of a man as a father and a woman as a mother, then obviously everything becomes androgenized and you can just switch places. A man can be a woman, a woman can be... And when the social function is exactly the same, why should biological function define social function? I mean, one of the roots of marriage is the idea that men and women are different. This is why same-sex marriage is not the same thing as heterosexual marriage and why the word marriage should not be applied to same-sex couples in the first place, because marriage is about man, woman, child, period. End of story. That's what it was designed to do. And by the way, when I say designed, I mean designed by God or by nature. Not just by societies. It wasn't societies that randomly decided that the most valuable form of social arrangement was man, woman, child. That would be evolutionary biology. That happens to be the reality of this. But when you eviscerate all of that, when you create a society in which the greatest happiness is tied to eviscerating those social institutions, when marriage becomes a patriarchal institution that has to be done away with, when all of that happens, you shouldn't be surprised when men pretend to be women and women pretend to be men, and the entire society goes, well, why can't they be? We'll get to more of this in just 1 second. First, sending data over an unencrypted internet connection, it's like sending a postcard. Your message is wide open for the mailman and anybody else to see. Whether you're connected to an unencrypted internet network on your phone, computer, tablet, or TV, you're sending countless pieces of information out into the digital world that can be seen and intercepted by pretty much anyone. A VPN, or virtual private network, creates a secure tunnel between your device and the internet. It's like putting your postcard in an envelope so no one can read your letter before it gets to the person you're sending it to. It's the smart thing to do. ExpressVPN is the VPN I trust to keep my data secure. ExpressVPN creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so hackers can't steal your personal data, your passwords, your financial details, etc. Hackers make serious cash selling personal information on the dark web, but ExpressVPN makes it easier than ever to keep your information safe. ExpressVPN is super easy to use. All you have to do is open it up on your phone. And when you open it up, it looks like this. But unfortunately, mine is not connected right now. So I hit the button and then bam, it's connected, which means I'm now protected. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all your devices, so you can stay secure on the go. Secure your online data today at expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. Get 3 extra months for free. It's expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show. expressvpn.com/Ben Shapiro Show to get started. I mean, really, when a woman's function is exactly the same as a man's function in society, when you cannot say in modern American society, or are punished for saying, or are questioned for saying, really questioned, because this is baseline reality. When you're questioned for saying, you know, it seems to me that a main function of a woman on planet Earth is to bear children. That evolutionarily speaking, that is the main function, not a main, the main function. of a woman on planet Earth is to bear children. That doesn't mean every woman has to bear children. It doesn't mean that every woman's going to be happy bearing children. But biologically speaking, if you believe in, forget God, evolution, and evolution is about the procreation of the species, then on a biological level, it is significantly more important whether a woman has a baby than whether a woman has a job as an assistant accountant at the local haberdashery. This is all very obvious stuff, but we're supposed to not say that stuff because, again, what the left has done, they've eviscerated all the social roles. The social roles are bad. All that matters internally is who you want to have sex with or how you identify in terms of your gender. And if we get rid of all that, so then the question really is obvious. When you get rid of all the institutions and all you get are free-floating, atomized individuals and the state, and there's nothing in between, all the institutions in between are gone. When that happens, what you end up with is essentially a servile population voting for a group of people at the top who will continue to pay for all the consequences of the bad decision-making at the individual level. And that's essentially the goal of the social left today. The goal of the social left is you should not bear the consequences of your own decisions along any line. This is what the equity agenda is about. Your decisions have no impact on the consequences. Whether we're talking about your sexual decisions or your lifestyle decisions or your partnership decisions or your business decisions, none of this should have any consequence in the real world. The job of the government is to essentially play more just God, to establish, as Thomas Sowell once suggested, cosmic justice, in which all choices are essentially equivalent. There's no such thing as a moral choice or a sinful choice. All choices are the same. And if all choices are the same, then all effects should be the same. And it is the job of the great God of government to alleviate all the consequences of your decision-making. That is the thing you have to vote for. Vote for that, and maybe happiness is just around the corner. Maybe the utopian world in which nature doesn't exist and you can be what you want to be regardless of the consequences, maybe all that can be handed to you on a silver platter. That's the broad scale pitch. That's the pitch financially. It's the pitch in terms of social policy. It is a pitch that is guaranteed to lead to unhappiness. And sooner or later, society is going to pick up on this. Or it won't. And other societies are going to rise who aren't stupid enough to carve away at the fundamental foundations of their society. Those other societies are going to look at what the West has done to institutions like marriage and childbearing and education and biological sex. And they're going to say, you morons, what did you guys do? What have you wrought? And those societies will win. Because in the end, biology does exist. Reality does exist. Social institutions do exist. These are all real and they are all important. In fact, they are, contra public opinion, essential. These are essential and good things. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing now. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be getting into Donald Trump attacking Ron DeSantis and Glenn Youngkin. Plus, Lila Rose from Live Action stops by to discuss the effects on the pro-life movement of the election this week. If you're not a member, click the link in the description and join us.